Hello and welcome. Today we'll be looking at Excel formulas and functions. And by way of explanation or introduction, we say that Excel formulas and functions, or Excel itself to start with, is a powerful spreadsheet application that is used for data analysis, calculation, and visualization. And in Excel, we have two essential features that make it very useful. These features include the formulas and the functions. Now we'll talk about Excel formula. We have that an Excel formula is an expression that calculates the value of a cell. Take for instance these two numbers on our screen, 21 and 10. You know that the solution is 31. Okay, let's just wipe it off. You can take this out and take this out and take this out. Remember, we want to see how an Excel function is written. We say an Excel formula rather. An Excel formula is an expression that calculates the value of a cell, and oftentimes it starts with an equal to sign. So let's have these two numbers starting, and the next one we have 10, and we want to find the sum of these two numbers. What do? We make the cell, we want the solution, we want the total to be on the cell. We make the cell active and we start with an equal to sign. So we say the name of the cell is L2. So we say equal to L2 plus M2. I'll press enter. It gives us 23. So this that we have here is an example of Excel formula. It is an expression that calculates the value of a cell. Remember, the value can be numbers, it can be references, it can be operators and functions, right? It can be operators and functions. Operators include greater than, less than, and the rest of that. It could be functions as well. That is built-in formulas that comes with Excel. We would see that as we forge ahead. All right. So we have common operators in Excel. Includes addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, exponential or exponential, as the case may be. And like I mentioned earlier, you have greater than, you have less than. All right. So these are Excel formulas, common operators that we use in Excel formulas. Now we'll talk about Excel functions. These two are similar, but there is a difference between an Excel formula and an Excel function. An Excel function is a predefined formula that performs a specific task using specific values. Remember, we said that Excel formula is just an expression that calculates the value of the value that is contained in a cell. It often starts with an equal to sign. It is an expression that calculates the value that is contained in a cell. Now look at what we did here. We calculated the values that are in this cell and in this cell, and we used the operator plus. That is the operator that we use, the addition sign, which is plus. That is what we used to get this 23. Whereas Excel functions are predefined formulas that perform specific tasks using specific values or arguments. Now, functions help us to save time and reduce errors. We have basic or different Excel functions. They are quite a lot. We have a lot and lots of them, but we're just going to talk about few or basic ones. We talk about sum. Now, instead of working on this way, there are better ways to do it. When we get to that, we will soon launch into that, and we'll see how to go about these things. We have sum adds the values that is contained in cells. Now we have average calculates the mean. All right, we have the if function returns a value based on a particular condition, even with the name if this condition is met, return this. If this is not met, say this. So it returns a value based on a condition. Now we have maximum, like you can see on my screen. We have maximum. Maximum finds the largest value. Minimum finds the smallest value. Count finds the numeric values. We have count count A, count R. Count R helps us to count both the numeric and non-numeric values. We have VLOOKUP. VLOOKUP searches for a value in a column, and like I said earlier, we have lots of them. We have now returns the current date and time. All right, we have network days. We have quite a lot of functions in Excel, but we are just going to look at a few basic ones that we need. All right, so without further ado, we'll go forward into seeing some of these things practically being used. Now we have the first one, we'll talk about maximum and talk about maximum and minimum. We said that maximum and minimum values, the maximum value calculates what? The maximum value finds the largest value, whereas the minimum value finds the smallest value. And how do I call my maximum function? For instance, we want to find the highest age, or the maximum age here, or the maximum salary. Let's go with the age. You can say click on it, and the function equally. Remember, these functions are predefined formulas, therefore it starts with an equal to sign. You click on equal to, and you say call the function max. I want to find the highest value. It's already here. I click on it, open the braces. Please find the highest value from this column G2 to G30, and then you close it and press enter. It gives me 70. This is the highest value. In like manner, if I want to find the minimum value, which is the smallest value, I'll start with an equal to sign, and then min. I'll click on it and open the bracket. The same process, I'll drag it down, and then I'll close it and press enter. It gives me the least age. So when looking at what we have here, you can see that 70 is the highest age and 25 is the lowest age here. That is that for minimum and maximum. We go to if. Remember, we said that if returns a value based on a condition. If returns a value based on a condition. And what do we have here? We have their ages based on a condition. We want to know people that are old and people that are categorized as young here. So what do we do? Right? If returns a value based on a condition. So the condition that we are going to give to these values here is this: if this person is above this particular age, return old. If the person is younger than this particular age, return young. I have something like that already on the screen. And what did I write? If from G2 to G11 they are less than 30. If they are less than 30, call them young. If they are greater than 30, call them old. But there is something here. I didn't put into consideration the 30 value. I said if G2 to G11 is less than 30, call them young. If they are greater than 30, call them old. So that is how I got to have this. So if I drag this down, okay, you see that what I have here: old, young, old, young. Oh, sorry. 28. Oh no, sorry. It's supposed to be less than. I used the greater than sign. Sorry. Okay. Press enter. Right. I will drag this down. Let's see what happens. Okay, it takes effect. If this is less than 30, call this person an old man. If the person is greater than 30, call the person if the person is less than 30, call the person a young person. If the person is older than 30, call the person an old man. So from what we have here, you could see that 30 is old, and 45 is old, 65 this and that and that. So someone will ask, Why is 30 old? Right? Look at what we have here. I said if the people that their ages fall within this column, I didn't put the 30-year benchmark condition. That is why it's called 30 old. But if I want to put in that, I'll say if G2 to G11 is less or equal to 30, so you add equal to sign, right? And then is this. So let's see what happens here. Say press enter. Can you see that it has taken effect, that the 30-year-old person is now a young person, because I said if these values is less or equal to 30, call them young, else they are old people. All right, now let's see something else with the salary. Let's look at the salary. Sorry, it's still if. Let's look at the salary. Let's look at the salary column. So we can say, start here and we say if equal to, first of all, if H2 to H, sorry, equal to, if, okay, yeah, H2 to H11. If H2 to H11 is less than 50,000, less than 50,000. Do we have anybody with less than 50,000, comma, you call them poor. Let's say call them poor, else rich. Okay, else they are rich. Close the braces and press enter. All right, if I said if this person salary is less than 50,000 naira, call that person a poor man, else the person is rich. That means if it is above 50,000, the person is rich, but if the person is less than 50,000, the person is poor. So looking at what we have here, 17,500 is poor, 17,500 is poor. Now 704,000 is rich, 65,000, on and on and on and on. So this is how the if condition works, the if function works. The if function returns a value based on a condition. I gave a condition, and what is my condition? If it is less than 50,000, if it is less than 50,000, call that person rich or poor, depending on what you want the people to answer. Okay, the next function that we're going to look at is length. Length applies to just count, or length, yes, counts only the text, the text or the alphabets or the strings contained in a particular cell. For instance, the length function cannot count numbers. It only counts strings or text, as the case may be. All right, so if you want to know how many characters that is contained on this or in this English, in this word that occupies this particular cell, you use length. If you want to know how many characters that is contained in HR, hospitality, engineering, and rest of that, assuming you need that to work. All right, length can only work on text values. It can only work on text values. So how do we do this? The same thing, equal to, you call the function length. Length function is known as len. Okay, I say I want to know the value on this cell, and I can close it this way and press enter. It says English word contains 7 characters, and I can just drag it down. And it will give me the rest. Okay, drag it, Sorry, can keep dragging it, and it will give me the rest of the characters contained in this. Now we'll go to date to text. Date to text function is a function that converts the date into a text. It converts the date into a text to help you work. All right. Sometimes when you have a data set before you and you need to extract the year from the date in your Excel working environment, most times it's difficult. But for you to do this, you first of all need to convert that date to text, and then before you can extract the year from the date. And how do we do this? You already have something before us here. I said I need to convert these dates. Look at it, it's a date, but if you look at this, it's a text, because this is number, this is a text. See the arrangement of the numbers. This one is geared towards the left and this one is geared toward the right. So we say equal to, I can do it again here, I can say equal to text. I want to convert this date function to a text, and the formula says what value do you want to convert to a text? I want to convert this one, all right, E2. And in what format do you want it to take? You add comma. I want it to take the format of, you put this quotation mark, you say I want it to take day this way, month this way, year, and then put your quotation mark and then close it. Press enter. You see, whatever format you want it to take, it will take. However you want it to be. If you want it to be digitalized, it's up to you. However, and then you can just drag it down and every other space will be filled up. Okay, so long those spaces contain dates, it will be filled up in the same format. If I say no, I don't want it to be this way, I want it to month, day, year, it's all up to you. You choose the format that you want it to take. Okay, now look at another function, the trim function. The trim function helps to organize your data and remove unnecessary space that is contained in your data. The trim functions helps to organize your data in removing the unnecessary spaces that is in your data set. As we can see, we have this gender, and under it we have the values scattered all over. You cannot submit this work this way as it is scattered. So how would I do it? You call the trim function just like I've done here. Okay, let's use this work. You say equal to, you call the trim TR. Before you finish writing it, it will pop up. All right, the trim function will appear, and you say what text do you want it to trim for you? I want it to trim from C2 down to C11, and I'll close it. Press enter. Now can you see that everything is back in order? So the trim function helps to adjust things. It helps to remove unnecessary spaces that is contained in your data set. Okay, next we look at the concatenate function. The concatenate function is that function that helps us to put two texts together. It helps us to put two texts together. Okay, for instance, we have Ami, which is the first name, and Kuren, which is the last name, and we want to put it together in our data set. We want these two names to be one because it is actually one. Supposing we want to use their names to give them an email, and we just can't be using their names individually, right? So we have to concatenate first before we use these names to create an email. So how would you do that? First of all, like what we have here, you will always call your concatenate. You always start with an equal to sign before the concatenate function. Now we say equal to concatenate. I want to concat what A2 and B2. You can cross it. You can add or bring together the first name here and the last name here if you know it's correct. Okay, so let's say it's Army Mayor, which it doesn't work. I just want to say that you can bring together any kind of text. In this case, it is names, but in other cases, it might not be names that you want to bring together. It might be other kind of text that you want to bring together. So you can concatenate this value here with this value here, and or what have you. So we say we want to bring together Army and Army's surname. We say equal to concatenate A2, comma. This quotation mark helps us to put the space. Okay, let's see something. I see something. They say equal to concatenate. Right. I click on it. I say text 1 is what is A2. So we say A2, comma. Put my quotation marks without space. And the second text, you can bring together 2 or more texts. It must not be just 2. You can bring together 2 or more texts. So the second one I want to put is B2. So B2. Okay? And then I'll close my braces. Press enter. This is what we have. This is what Army Career. Now this quotation marks in between it is what gives it space. If we don't put that quotation marks, it will be clustered together. Let's see. If it will give us an error, let's remove it and press enter. It should sorry, there is another stuff here. Okay, so it's okay. I think it depends on the version of Windows that you're using. Windows Excel that you're using and Windows that you're using. So this is what helps to bring 2 or more texts together. And in a situation where you want to add an email address or whatever it is, extension, maybe email address for your company or email address for whoever it is, all you need to do after you must have brought the 2 names together or two texts together, what do? You add the extension. Look at what I did at gmail.com, and that is how this appeared here. If I want this to appear for the rest of the others, I don't need to keep doing it one by one. I'll just drag this down and it will take effect for every other person in the company. So that is how concatenation works, and that is how we can give an email to whoever it is that is working for a particular company, and you can put whatever extension that you want, and you can bring together 2 or more text. The next is average, and from our definition we say that average helps us to find the mean. The average function helps us to find the mean. Okay, it calculates the mean. For instance, I want to find, but before you find the average, you have to find the sum. Okay, so let's find the total sum of salaries that is paid to individuals in this company. The total sum that is spent in paying salary. So we click on this, we say equal to. Remember, when we were dealing with formulas, we just had to use the plus sign. But here we're going to call the sum function. We say sum. And then this is it. Say the first number we want to sum from this down to the last one. I want to sum this to I want to sum from this place down to the last one. Then we can close it and we'll press enter. Now this is the sum of the salaries, the total sum of money that is distributed to all these people working for this organization. This is the total sum. Right, now we want to find the average of this sum. How do we do it? You can go to the next cell. You say equal to, so first of all, average. I want to find the average of this number. I'll close it. You can find the average of more than one numbers. Now, what if I want to find average of each of these numbers individually? I want to find their average. I want to find the average of each of these numbers. How do we do it? Or how do I do that? Okay, I could say I want to find the average of 17,500, 90,800, and the rest of that one by one. I would say equal to same process, average. Okay, call the function average, and then average of here to here, and then I'll close it, press enter. It still gives me the sum total. Okay, no, it's not. Okay, the average of this to this is this. Yes, the average of this, which is the average of this, is the sum, and this is the average. Okay, this is the sum here, and this is the average. So this is how these formulas work. Same thing with sum, we have already looked at the sum and the average. So we talk about count. Remember I said earlier that length counts the number of characters, especially strings, especially text characters that is contained, or text values that is contained in a cell. Strings or the length function counts the number of characters that is contained in a string value that is in a cell. All right, now the count function counts only numbers. The count functions count only numeric values that is contained in a cell. It counts them. It does not add them up. It counts how many values, how many cells does or how many cells is occupied with a particular value. Take for instance, for this one, we could say we want to know the count of values, or the count of cells that is occupied with values. So we say equal to, say count, and we open our, you can this, and then we open our braces and say I want to find the count of values from this cell, from H2 down to H10 or H11. No, the last place is H11. So we can close it. Okay, and then we close it and press enter. We see that we have 10 cells occupied with numeric values. Like I said, it can only count numbers, numeric values. We could try it out. If you see this, okay, so let's check out for this one. Count word, count for department, which is F2 to F11, and then we close it. It gave us 0. Why? Because count only counts numeric values. Now we want to see, how about if I need to count the values, the entire cells that has values in it. What would I do? Since count is just for numeric values, we use the count R. The count R enables us to count both strings and numbers. So let's say we want to find how many cells are occupied within the department and the age column. What we'll do is to say count R, say count equal to count R. Okay, and then we say F2 to G2 and then down to G11, and then we close it, press enter. You see we have 10 here and 10 here. So we added it together and it gave us what? 20. So count R can allow you, look at it here, count R can allow you deal with more than numbers. You can deal with string values. Like I said earlier, we have quite a whole lot of Excel functions. We have some ifs, like VLOOKUP, which helps us to look up a value, and on and on and on, and a whole lot of Excel functions. So with this few that we have learned today, we have come to the end of this video for Excel formulas and functions. Thank you.